be. You shall be the Fellowship of the Ring.
Right. Where do we go?
Well, there's a couple of reasons I chose that. First of all, I chose it collectively for the group, and I'll tell you about that, and then I'll tell you about why I chose it individually for me to represent some things about me and my adventures with the Father. But we are a very, your term, Jim, unique group of people that come from all different backgrounds, just different denominations, different churches, all sorts of things. For the longest time, none of us went to church together. Now there's a couple of us that kind of go to church together. A couple sets of people go to church together, and anyway, we are a fellowship of the Lord, right? And we're going to do this boot camp, and we have a new boot camp coming up. It's March 13th through 16th. It's in a different place. We're stepping out. We're stepping out of our comfort zone. We're going even out of the state. We're going to Royston. Thank you.
2 states away.
2 states away. We got to go all the way through South Carolina to get to this one. We're going to Royston, Georgia, to Camp Little Light. And so we're going to be heading down there. We're going to be there March 13th through 16th. We are able to keep our pricing as of right now, the same price, $199. This will probably be about the last boot camp we'll be able to do that. There's a lot of, just as in your own homes, as prices have gone up, they've gone up for everybody. And we're holding down the prices as long as we can. So if you're not sure if you can afford more than $199, this would be a great boot camp to come to, because we know we can keep the price there. And if finances are a problem, please reach out to us and we'll find a way to help get you there. Don't let finances be the issue. We're excited about it. We're also sad about it because not all of our team can go, on this particular trip. But we are excited that God's taking us on a new adventure. And so we're looking forward to what he has in store there. Danny, you want to add something?
To be clear, they didn't run us out of state. We're going free will, right?
It remains to be seen.
Yeah.
No. Define run us up. No,
I'd rather not.
Yeah, no. And so back to the clip from Fellowship of the Ring. I would love to say that most of the time I'm Frodo, hey, I'll take the ring, and I have this real confidence, and even though I don't know the way, which is usually the case, I don't know the way. I'm more often like Pippin that you hear at the end. I need somebody smart to go on this quest thing, and
you want to know where the second breakfast is too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I want to know where the second breakfast is, and my adventures with God, I've learned, to be quite honest, when I first thought about asking God what he wanted me to do with my life, I was one of those people that you hear about that I was afraid he'd make me be a missionary to another country, and I'm like, God, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a missionary to another country. He's never asked me to do that yet, so I'm grateful for it. But I am grateful that the adventures he's taken me on have been so life-changing that I do sign up for them. I'm like, yeah, God, I'm in. I don't know where we're going. And most of the time I am like Pippin. I have no clue. Where are we going? Even if I think I know where we're going, I have no idea where we're going. That's kind of like the word of the year we've been talking about. Go ahead, Jim.
We'll be talking about Alaska later, but you were talking about not wanting to do it. When we got back from our mission to Alaska, my wife and I, we were at a church where the pastor must have said 2 or 3 times in the first 4 weeks we were there, now it doesn't mean God's going to call you to Alaska, or it does. That's where you're going.
He may. I say that God doesn't call me on those things, but he's had me go on one mission trip so far. I'm really pondering another mission trip this summer. Just praying through that. I really feel God laying it on my heart to go do that down to Honduras. And so just praying about if that's really what he wants me to do or not. But feeling I'll be stepping out of my comfort zone, going into a different country, later this year. But hopefully he'll let me leave there, not make me stay. We don't have time for another clip, but guys, what are you excited about on your adventures with God, or things that you'd like to share? Rodney, do you have anything you want to share?
Well, I'm just trying to think through. There's so many things that happen in your life. It's like, well, which one is coming out the most? And for me, it's just been this whole ordeal with my health, which really, I didn't even know what was going on until my boss tries to grab me and says, wasn't my boss, it was the manager of health there. And he came by and grabbed me and said, "Oh, I need you to come follow me. I need you to come talk to somebody or something." Oh, okay. I just kind of went. Next thing you know, I'm sitting in the health office and they're checking me and, oh, he's got this or that. He's not responding. The next thing you know, they're calling the ambulance. The ambulance is there. And I'm like, what is going on? I mean, it happened so fast. I've got one thing on my mind and they've got another. And I'm like, okay, I just end up going. They do all these tests and then they're telling me about all this, just you need to relax and all this stuff. I'm like, can you tell me what's going on? I go through all these things and end up, at least now I know how healthy I am. I'm like, everything they've checked, I've been fine. They're still checking some things, so they did close up a little hole in my heart or something, but it's one of those things where I don't think any of it was needed, but maybe it was, because at least it made me stop, slow down, and think about, okay, well, where am I? What am I doing? Why am I doing these things? It at least makes me be responsible to God in understanding who I am and where I'm going. It was just a big, long, monthly ordeal, and it's over except for some few checks. And
Checks you got to write or checks they got?
well, I know
That's where I went to.
Yeah.
they're still checking on me,
Okay.
but there are checks, which again, that's the whole thing that you got to understand is you're going through this whole ordeal, and what do you get from everybody else? Is, oh, you got this much time, you got to be paying. It's like I paid my whole amount for my deductibles and all that stuff. I paid everything. Why are you still pressuring me? And you just got to keep going through that, saying, just back off. It's going to be okay. You just got to live with that.
Yeah, it's not all adventures are fun.
Right.
But the cool thing is God's in the middle of all of them.
Yeah.
Right. The ones that aren't fun, the ones that are fun. If you invite him in, he's right there, and he's there anyway. It's just you don't really notice he's there unless you're saying, "God, I'm here with you."
And that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Just trying to be with him as much as I could.
Well, go to masculinejourney.org to register for the boot camp coming up March 13th through 16th in Royston, Georgia. We'll talk to you after the break. I'm never going to get that right.
In probably 20 weeks, you'll have it down.
Yeah, by the time we go,
Yeah.
I'll be able to do it. Just, we're done.
Are we on?
Finally got it. I got YouTube on first,
Okay.
and I just now added Facebook. Facebook, the first half wasn't on, so.
Well, that's all right. It is what it is.
Yeah, I had never done it. I mean, I'd only saw briefly, looking over his shoulder. So.
Who's clips next? Who wants to go?
So, yeah, my mom's got you now.
I think it,
1 Corinthians 13:7. Love never gives up, never loses hope, is always hopeful and endures through every circumstance. God died so he can give you the ability to face situations with hope and endurance. And that's the voice of truth.
so I can sing. Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. Looking for adventure.
Welcome back. Yes, I know we used that a couple weeks ago as a clip, but it's such a perfect bump for adventure. Doesn't it just get your motor running?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Anyone remember who sings that?
Steppenwolf.
That's right. That is Steppenwolf.
And we cut it off too soon. He was about to say, "Yeah, Lord,
In some
he's
versions.
going to make it happen."
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I dabbled some with the lyrics.
Yeah.
He's next.
Well, Danny, you are next on this topic of adventures with the Father. So what do you want to do?
Well, first we'll give a shout out to our producer Keith, because we've had an adventure with
Oh, yeah.
with some technology around here, and our great producer has pulled us through
Yeah.
week to week. So shout out to Keith.
Well, Keith's the real star of the program anyway. He's
We
just
just
not on
kind
there.
of hang out.
Yeah, he does.
But my clip is from a little movie. It's a 20-minute movie, I think. You can find it on YouTube called Butterfly Circus. And we always recommend when we use clips Go look it up. It's worth the 20 minutes watching. Great movie. And the star of it is a guy named Will, and he has no arms or legs. And, you know, he's had a tough time in life, obviously, with different challenges and circumstances and stuff. But in this clip, they stopped when they're traveling or whatever. They're in this swimming hole, this river, and everything. And, you know, he doesn't have any arms or legs, and he's asking them for help to get to where they are. And because they walked across a log, and so, but what Will discovers in this adventure is some cool things about him that'll change his life. And that's the reason I chose it, was that, you know, the adventure in not knowing. It's a clip we talk about.
I can't find my caterpillar. Where is it? He's right there. And it's clean, see? He'll be fine. He won't even recognize him when he comes out. Oh.
Hey! Hey, George! Fluffy! I need help to cross! Anyone help me? Hey, George! You help me? Hey! Where you going? What's the matter with you? You leaving me off? I think you'll manage. What? I guess I'll just magically get off, huh? Stop! How's the water? Oh, coming in.
Well, Will falls in and he learns he can swim. And what ultimately happens after that is he becomes an act in the circus, a high dive act, and, you know, transforms some lives and a lot of different things with that. And yeah, he didn't know what he was getting into. And, you know, you mentioned earlier, Sam, that, you know, a lot of times we don't know what we're getting into. I would say, I don't think we ever know truly what we're getting into with an adventure with God, because he's going to take you further than you really thought you could go. And that's what happened to Will. And, you know, we've been on kind of an adventure with Michelle and I lately, and thought we were relocating, and now that's changed. And so we're staying in King for lots of different reasons. But the adventure's still going on. That there are lots of things that are still up in the air, and we're okay with them being up in the air. And because what we're discovering is that we're learning, this is a season, we're really learning to lean in on God, on everything. And, you know, with job situations, with church situations, and all sorts of different things. And this adventure has really been cool because it has increased our faith. And
Right now in Pilsen.
that's the,
Yeah, I got nothing.
yeah. But that's been the adventure now, is knowing that I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. So
Yeah, and I think you said things obviously a lot better than I did. You know, I made the statement that I look forward to the adventures with God. That's true. I look forward to the outcome a lot of times, because sometimes the adventures that God allows you to go on aren't pleasant. They're not fun, right? But it's to grow us and to learn us, or maybe it's a consequence of a choice we made, you know, that we're living out. And God lets us continue to live in that, but we can get learning from it if we lean into Him. You know, I guess what I say is I'm excited about even the things that I don't find very pleasurable or I don't really want to go do. I'm learning more and more to lean into God and say, okay, God, what's the learning? What's the takeaway? I don't want to be here again. I don't want to be in the this version of Groundhog Day and end up back in this place again. So, what do I need to do to learn to move past this?
It's interesting because the scripture says thy word is a light into my
Lamp unto my feet and
and
a
a
light
light
unto
into
my
my
path.
path. And the visual of that is that you just see right what's in front of you.
Right.
Because most of us, if you saw the light on down the path, you probably turn around and go back anyway.
Yeah, there's only a few people in Scripture that God really kind of tells them how it's going to turn out. He tells David he's going to be king. He doesn't tell him when.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why he's going to have to through to get there. Because if had he told him all that, he might have went, hey, I'm not so sure about this.
Just think about Noah.
Yeah.
It's going to rain. What's rain?
Yeah. Water's going to fall from the sky.
Exactly.
Really?
And it's going to blow up from the bottom.
Yeah.
He gave Hezekiah 15 years.
Yeah. There are times that we're given information like that in Scripture. Harold, we got a couple minutes left. Is there anything on an adventure you'd like to share with us?
Well, the big adventure that I'm on right now is being the guy that used to claim to be the best driver on the highway, to being somebody that doesn't get to drive so much anymore. The guy that once said very confidently, they'll prize my keys out of my cold, dead hand. And yet here I am now that I'm here tonight because Art let my wife volunteer him to drive me over. And so, yeah, there's a lot of changes that he's putting me through. I think I'm beginning to have some of the symptoms of Parkinson's.
Mhm.
So that's a new adventure too. And I'm guessing he's trying to see how I'm going to deal with that. Am I going to be a man about it, or am I going to be a brat? Trying to be a man.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of things that we might not think of as adventures and not want to do them, but we don't have a choice.
That's a good point.
So taking a look at it as, God, get me through this, because apparently it's not something I can throw out the window.
No, that's good. Thank you, Harold. I appreciate you sharing that. So, Danny, do we have to call you King Danny this time?
No, just Danny King.
Okay. Just sir, does that work?
Sir word.
Yeah, just sir work. Okay. Any other thoughts on adventure before we wrap up the show?
I just know that when you go on an adventure, you always think, oh, adventure, that sounds great. But many, many, many times, God is going to take you through something to show you something that you have to learn from. And I've only been in Christ 10 years, but there are many things where at different times you're like, oh, this is what I meant to learn out of this and grow from. And it's really good because you're like, okay, but I've at least set my mind to, okay, I'm prepared for what he has for my future. And recently I was just driving home and it was cold outside. It just snowed, but I was fine. I was driving, and the next thing I go to take a left, and my car was right off the road, goes under a tree, broke my windshield. It's all tore up and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, I think I still have insurance on this car, because I know I took it off the truck because it's even older. And I like, nope, don't have any insurance on this. I'm like trying to figure out, can I get that fixed and for how much and all that kind of stuff. But it just took me through something. I'm like, okay, and I just put $3,000 into this about 2 or 3 weeks before I did that. I'm like, oh man, am I going to be able to get this back out or use any of this? It's just one of those things that just happens. You're like, what do I need to learn from all of this? So you just kind of live with it and go on and say, thank you, Lord. You just go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Harold, you don't have any threat to you being the best driver on the road from Rodney. So,
Well, he didn't stay on the road, technically, according to the story.
I was good on the road, not in the ditch.
The road can be ugly sometimes. Harold, you reminded me of my mom there, not anything physical, but we're through with that stuff. But she made it to
Carolina
96, and she outlived my father by about 14 years. And she kept asking me every time I visit, why am I still here? Because she thought she was going first. And we're all here for as long as God wants us here, and there's going to be adventure to the very end. And I'm not going to pray for your complete healing, because for me, that means you've graduated to heaven. So we want you to hang around a little longer.
Yeah, definitely the adventures God has us on. And I think they only become clear, and they don't all become clear, but they become clearer when you look back. Right? When you're in the midst of those adventures, when you're in the midst of those trials, if it's a trial type adventure, you have no clarity to see anyway. Right? You're so fogged with what's going on. And it's when you can get some distance from it, you can look back and say, okay, God, I see what you're doing there. You know, I know that you had me there. I just didn't know you had me there.
Life, what is it? Life is understood backward, but has to be lived forward. I think
Absolutely.
is a statement, and that's true.
Absolutely. Well, the adventure we'd love to have you join us on is the Adventures to the Next Boot Camp. It's March 13th through 16th. Where is it, Andy?
Royston, Georgia.
Yeah, I'm still can't say
Camp
that.
Little Light.
Yeah, Camp Little Light. It's going to be a great place to go. We're learning more about it. Our friend Nikita has his camps there, speaks very highly of it, but we'd love to have you join us. If you have any questions, just reach out to any of us, first name at masculinejourney.org. Let yourself be loved by the Father this week. Go on an adventure with him and love somebody else well. We'll talk to you next week.
We are all.
See the wizard?
No, we're just off.
Yeah. So we got,
No wizard will be seen.
we have 2 clips left. 2,
You jumping in?
Yes, sir. There's a night, I don't know, Nightdale.
I finally hacked it out. I didn't know I don't know how I got there.
We're gonna toss the whole show.
Huh?
We're gonna toss the
Oh,
whole
well,
show.
Your
to
Highness.
the
what you call me?
Don't be talking about mine.
Talk about them dogs.
Just-
Them adventures with them dogs.
Hi, what?
What?
Your farming adventures.
Were you at the Hope Center Saturday?
Yes.
I thought I saw your car. Yeah, I
Didn't see your.
no, I drove by there 3 or 4
Well, I
times.
only
was helping
had
my
a
daughter move the
YouTube
couch and
first
some other stuff.
because I had to go all the way out and
A
get
little
started
short
over.
staff.
And I couldn't figure out, kept going into Facebook. And it
Yeah, I
wouldn't work.
stopped by there.
But then I added,
About-
I went in and edited and I had Facebook.
Oh, right after you might have must
I got
have
more
left because
YouTube
I went in and saw a couple of people that were there. But no, I've been helping her move a couple of couches. So, not fun
Why? What's going on?
because I'm a parent.
I know, but why is she?
She got a free couch from a coworker. It was in really good shape, so we went and picked it up over off of Bow Mountain Road. And then we had to take it to her. That's what it
It's
is.
bow everywhere except here.
Everybody
It's
calls
box.
it box, I've heard, but
Well, I was calling it box, and everybody's like, it's Bow.
I thought you
I'm
had
like,
a E had to be in there for it to be bow though. It's BAUX.
No, faux, like faux beams is F-A-U-X. It's a French word.
I guess.
So
I shouldn't be laughing.
I called it
I
box
don't
mountain
really
for a
know.
long
You did?
time until somebody
Somebody
locally.
corrected you.
And the French don't pronounce any letters.
And we're all just now arguing about it.
We.
We are joshing each
Well,
other about it.
But no,
I think
then
I
had
bring
to-
that up every time he says that.
Then I had to go get
And he's
further couch and we
corrects
had to
me.
throw it away in the dumpster at work. So it's just. Because of it.
You didn't give me a hard time then. You knew I was too
Oh, I'm going to.
Oh.
You were just busy and couldn't
course.
really.
you didn't, I couldn't fight back.
I
So
was
there was
gonna-
no point, right?
Yeah, I have it. I have it for this next.
Oh heck.
I wonder how long before this thing shorts out.
I know it's not very good.
You're gonna be low voltage. So still take something out that does.
Well, it just won't work.
Take itself
Well,
out.
ground right, it'll take the low voltage.
Yeah, it could. We could knock the board out, I guess. Eventually, if it's not grounded right.
Or if it's
grounded right
ground,
here.
Nothing in here I would surprise me. Oh, yeah, knocked all everything out. Okay. You just kind of, oh, that's just the next thing. Oh, that's what happened this time. Okay. So is it the next time?
We'll fix it in a couple months.
Patriot or Wolf?
Take, I mean, you can go
Oh,
first if you want.
wolf. Never cry wolf.
Never cry wolf.
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 All right, Jimmy,
Rosie.
you got the first clip, Rosie.
Rosie.
I was gonna say earlier that
Never cry
when we
Tyler.
were talking about usually being the
Border.
first clip, I decided to.
Chiefs
hold my
or
tongue.
Eagles?
I usually don't get mine
Chiefs.
in until 2 minutes from the end of the second show.
That's about right.
It's a minute and a half clip.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're done.
That's right about it. It's weird waiting now, and not just starting the second show.
Oh yeah, that's right, y'all. That's right.
You know, last few weeks we just went right into the next show.
Anybody got pay?
So, Art, you got something to share on adventure?
Yes. Lost the
Oh,
show.
that's all right.
He's got.
Lost. That much? Oh, that's
Terry,
great. That's
Terry,
awesome.
Terry.
He's this close to
I'm
having an
fine.
adventure.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're
He's
just
just
talking
a
about
little
the adventures Father's taking us on right now.
He's gonna talk about becoming the best driver on the road.
Well, I believe I got the
I'm
crown
past that too.
when you passed.
Past that.
I know I'm not the best driver because my new car every once in a while tells me you should take a coffee break. I'm like, I must be driving really bad.
Got one of them too.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out how to turn it
I
off.
hate it.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I've never heard of that.
My windshield tells me.
If you
Yeah, right.
like, I always watch my mirrors, and if no one's around me, I don't really care if I'm at the edge of, but if people are coming up behind me, I make sure I'm, but I don't really care if I'm a little over in either side.
Oh, I
But
think
as soon as you
the
do
best
this a little
line
bit,
That's just their computer software to try to act like they're getting into self-driving.
yeah,
Let's nag the driver, and that would be the action we would have taken if we were driving.
You gotta have an older vehicle. Mine don't even think about any of that stuff.
well, no, that was my newer car that says that, but I'm
No.
trying to find a way to shut it off because I already shut off the lane assist because every time because again, I use my signals when anyone's around me at all, but if there's no one around me, I don't see the point of
No,
turning on my turn signal.
Right.
Right, but you go to change the lane and it jerk the wheel
Yeah.
back, and I'm like, we're not
It's
playing.
actually dangerous.
We're not playing this.
I've been on rentals that do that.
Yeah, so I turned that off as soon as I could find
My
it.
wife Michelle, she has all these buttons on her car, and she'll hit it. She'll hit buttons. I'm driving, all of a sudden something goes. She goes, "What'd you do?" I did nothing. It's something you did earlier, and I have to figure out what button she pushed
Oh yeah,
to get something not doing. But it's
That's
my
the
fault.
hardest part.
It's my fault because I'm driving. It was like that when you got out of the car.
You're in
My
charge.
daughter's car takes the cake. There's absolutely nothing behind the steering wheel, which for me would be good because I can't see most of it anyway. But there's a TV like this in the center.
Mhm.
Must be a
That
Tesla.
it is. It's a coil, is what I was going to call it. Car, but and basically you see all the cars with a little video. It's a video game. It's not
Crazy,
driving
man.
anymore.
I ran across a new one on the Waze app on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
You're driving down the road. Watch out! Car stopped on the million.
That's something. that-
Well,
You can't even see anything.
It's that whole social experience too, and it's talking about a video game. You've got all those little butt things that you get points for and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you get, yeah, it's like a little Pac-Man. You hit, you
this
go
is
by
not
stuff.
Frogger.
Yeah.
Squish. You're
As long as
the
you're
wrong
not the
way.
frog.
You need to go
Yeah, as long as you're not the
Yeah.
frog and you're the car. That's all right.
Oh, man.
Hey, you know what? In about, I don't know, 3 months, it's still gonna be light out.
I know.
2 months, it's still. Yeah.
Hey,
I hate that.
we're getting close to the no daylight savings time. They're about ready to pass
Oh, I hope they
legislation.
do, man. I cannot.
That's
stand
all
it
bill on the
every
floor
time.
now, I think.
Just one whole year at the same time would be so
Yeah.
wonderful. Think about the kids just born. They don't even have to
Yeah.
ever deal with that.
I believe they've already,
Which way will they leave it? Like it is now?
I don't care.
no daylight savings time.
Just don't let us leave it alone.
I have a preference, but
So yeah,
as
So
long as
daylight
like now.
savings time is the way it is in the summer.
yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, just pick one and leave it.
we can't make Danny happy though. That's the problem.
We got 2 minutes till we go on, but I'm gonna need your guys' help holding me to something I decided to do next year. I decided to go deer hunting next year for the reason I think I need to prove to myself that I can kill and clean a deer if I had to.
Yeah. I want to do that. I want to do the same thing.
I don't really care to do it over and over again. I just,
Well, I don't know.
I
You
just
may
like-
you may find that you like it.
I
I want to
might.
be open to it, but I want to do the same
When I
thing.
kill, I'm gonna have somebody teach me to clean it.
Yeah.
the first one I kill may probably be the only one if I kill one. And it may not. I mean, I might like it. You're right, I might. But I just want somebody to show me how to clean it so I can know that I know how to do
Yeah,
it
yeah.
in case I would ever need to know. But I started thinking about it the other day. I don't know if it was God woke me up with it or whatever, but I'm like, I think I need to know how to do this.
Yeah.
It's for me, that I know.
Well, let me tell you what happened to me.
Make sure it's not bad.
It's not just the going out and hunting like we were doing everything, but this year sitting out there by myself and watching nature come alive.
Yeah.
And having deer within 20 yards of you.
Yeah.
And just you're selecting which one you're going to take, or
Yeah.
not even take any at all, but to watch what they do and how smart them things are.
Yeah.
And the other creatures are just, I mean, it has fascinated me. Like I was.
You probably have more of it, but people,
We're getting to
hunters,
go on.
you have more of appreciation for.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Coming to you from an entrenched barricade deep in the heart of central North Carolina. Masculine Journey After Hours. A time to go deeper and be more transparent on the topic covered on this week's broadcast. So sit back and join us on this adventure. The Masculine Journey After Hours starts here now.
Welcome to Masculine Journey After Hours, and thank you for joining us on this adventure. That's what it says right there in our intro.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for
We
joining.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're glad you're on an adventure, and we're glad every week, but we're especially glad today because we're talking about adventure.
Indeed.
Good word there, Andy.
Indeed.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, don't stress himself out over there.
Wish I had a thesaurus to think of another word that went with that.
It just occurred to me that an entrenched
You're right, it's the
barricade
other
would be a trip hazard.
Yes, could be.
Okay.
A what?
So that's an adventure.
When you fall down.
An entrenched barricade would be a trip hazard. You got it buried. And, never mind.
Anything can be an entrenched barricade, so.
I guess it could.
Yeah.
It does keep the guffers out. but-
Yeah. Well, we are talking about adventure today for lots of different reasons. And the main reason is God takes us on adventures continually in our life. We don't always see him as that, but he does take us on adventures. And he's taken this whole group on an adventure, March 13th through 16th, to where, Andy?
Royston, Georgia,
To do what?
to go to boot camp
Yeah.
at Camp Little Light.
Yeah, we're going to have camp
New
in Georgia.
venue. That's an adventure for us because we've been pretty static for a while on our location, which has been great,
Mhm.
fantastic. But just some things that's been lean. It's interesting to see too in this adventure. We see possibilities of other people attending that we normally wouldn't come to us. We've changed the venue and stuff, so it's. I think it's exciting for all of us to go and do something somewhere different.
Yeah, the Carolina Bible Camp's been awesome
It has.
to go to, and it's been great to be there. Yeah, what's going to be nice about going on a new adventure, it's taking us out of our comfort zone. And that's one of the things that, God often requires is to get us out of our comfort zone, or pretty much always requires, right? And so that we go on this adventure with him. And so we're excited about it. And if you want to go to masculinejourney.org. If you go on your phone, there will be a huge banner, like a huge red
I
banner
was hoping nobody would
that
mention
you can't read the whole thing. But if you move it around a little bit, you can click on it.
Oh, I get this is where you were going to give me a hard time.
Yeah, this is.
I was going to give myself a hard time too. That is true, and the explanation is we wanted to make sure everybody knows because we've been doing it at the same place for so long. I wanted to get Royston, Georgia, in there, and to do that, just the website software that we have, it was either going to be really small or not, and wrap and look all ugly or whatever. And it looks great on the website.
Yeah.
It looks pretty bad on a phone.
It does. If you're using a mobile device,
Don't register on your phone. Go to a computer.
Well, you can, but you kind of have to find the center of the red button, click on it, and then it'll go to a normal.
You
size
can't
page.
miss it.
You cannot, because that's the only thing you can see is this great big red thing in front of you. If you don't believe me, go to masculinejourney.org
On your
on
phone.
on your phone and try to click in the center. And then once you do, go ahead and just register for boot camp. You're already there. So you might as well just do that.
Get it done before it changes again.
Yeah, before it changes again. But no, Andy, thank you for putting that
Yeah,
together. I could not have done that, so I appreciate you doing it. But I enjoy giving you a hard time, which you're aware of. But we are talking about adventures with God, and that's our next big adventure. When is it? Anyone remember?
March
No.
13th through 16th.
March-
I did it. I put it on the website.
Yeah, March
so-
13th through 16th. Jim, where's it going to be at?
Royston, Georgia.
That's correct. I don't
At
know
a
anything
camp.
else. At Little Light, Camp Little Light.
Camp Little Light.
Yeah, and the way you
Like,
remember
we're
that
gonna
is
let
how.
it shine.
This little light of mine. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
let our light shine.
We are. All right, well, back on to our personal adventures with God. Jim, you have the next clip, so you do whatever you want with it.
When I heard the topic, I was excited. And there've been enough topics that didn't happen. I said, this is great. I'm going to get me a new clip.
So you don't like God's topics?
Oh, well, I love God's topics. And this one included him, so I'm pretty sure I like it. Those are the ones I do like.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you
But,
can determine which ones are God's and which ones aren't. So I got it, Jim.
Well, he let me know in no uncertain terms about this one. But I was excited about the topic until I started trying to say, well, I need to find a new clip for this. And I did that for several hours yesterday, got demoralized and said, what the heck? I'll just go and talk about other people. That's more fun anyway, sometimes. But this morning I woke up nice and early, around 4, and I said, okay, I'll start looking. And I started again. After a couple more hours, I said, okay, I'm just going to go see what's on the site. And I had 3 I was thinking about that were old clips and everybody would recognize. And there was one in particular, I said, well, that's pretty appropriate for me. And that would be the clip you're about to hear. But when I got on and got ready to start looking for it, I saw this clip already in the file that Andy had put in there, and it had my name on it. And Andy said, I didn't put your name on it, but it was one I'd used before. And he said, well, he might like this one. And I'm pretty sure God gave him that. So that kind of made it more exciting. And then the more I thought about this clip, it includes a lot of things I love. Some of my earliest big adventures were flying with my father when I was very young. And I've also done some gold panning, and that was fun. And while I was actually looking, I was also booking a flight to Alaska as part of our 52nd anniversary adventure with my wife.
Congratulations.
So, and thank you this August. So
I'll think you know.
all of that kind of, yeah, and Sam and I agree on very little, but this is one thing we both see is God's sense of humor. And I just, by the time I saw the clip was already there and some of the other things he was working on, I said, this is going to be a great show, and I got excited again. So this is a fella going to Alaska. He has no idea what he's doing. Sort of like Carolyn and I when we went on our adventure to Alaska 22 years ago. Been a little while, but we ended up moving up there, and that was our first really letting go of everything and responding to God's call, and it was a lot of fun. And in the other show, I mentioned the fact that as soon as we got back, the pastor said, well, God won't necessarily tell you to go to Alaska. He told us to go to Alaska. What's wrong with Alaska? We loved it for 7 months, and we came back for other adventures. But this is a guy riding with Rosie in a plane and discussing his adventure.
Yep, and it's a movie called Never Cry Wolf.
And that I never really know.
Yep, that's it. Never Cry Wolf. And the guy he's a scientist going up to study wolves.
wolves.
Yeah, so here
His
we go.
name's Tyler.
Tyler, thank you. Anything
Thank
else?
you, Tyler.
Here we go.
How do you, don't worry about it, Nate. I feel my way through these mountains blindfolded all the time. Tell me, Tyler, what's in the Valley of the Blackstone? What is it, manganese? Can't be oil. The gold?
It's kind of hard to say.
You're a smart man, Tyler. Keep your own counsel. There are all of us prospectors up here, right, Tyler? Scratching for that one crack in the ground. Never have to scratch again. I'll let you know a little secret, Tyler. The gold's not in the ground. Gold's not anywhere up here. The real gold is south of 60. Sitting in living rooms. Stuck facing the boob tube. Bored to death. Bored to death, Tyler.
What was that?
Oh, Lord.
What's wrong?
Take the stick.
What's wrong?
Boredom, Tyler. Boredom, that's what's wrong. How do you beat boredom, Tyler? Adventure. Adventure, Tyler.
Where are you going? Rosie! Rosie, what are you doing? I can't fly this thing. What do I do?
I'll catch the updraft.
Oh,
Right in the middle's good.
And that adventure is getting a plane whose engine installed working again while they're heading for the side of a mountain. That really hit home when I listened to it again, largely because of the boredom. And yeah, Carolyn and I do have the opportunity to go on some adventures, but when we're not on one, like yesterday and today, sitting in front of the TV bored and trying to get more active and get back out here. And this is, I'm older, but I still got a lot of adventure left in me. And this was sort of a great reminder for that.
So are you going on a cruise up there, or are you just?
We're flying to, we're going to Banff first, the park, and then we're going to.
If you've never heard of Banff, look it up. It's in
Never heard.
Canada. It's a national park up there that I think it puts almost all the United States parks to shame.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful, gorgeous.
I've never heard anybody disappointed. And it's on Carolyn's bucket list, and we were ready to go and had everything set up a few years ago. And then this ugly virus came out, and Canada was the first place to shut down. So they cut us off from doing that, but we're going to try again at twice the price now. But Banff is a great place. Then we're going to ride a train over to Vancouver.
Wow.
And hop on a ship there,
Sounds
which
incredible.
will, at the end of that one, we're also going to head up to whatever they're calling McKinley now.
McKinley.
We're still calling it McKinley. Oh,
No,
is
it's
that
back to
reversed
McKinley.
to
It was Denali, but
Denali? Yeah, well, Denali's the park, so why not have both?
Yeah.
But that's
well, you
place neither
do
of us have been.
you take some risks for the kingdom on these trips too, don't you?
Well, I am much more likely to talk to you about Jesus if I run into you far from home than if you're if I'm sitting in my living room, I guess.
Watching TV
That's
right
right.
now.
Carolyn knows Jesus.
Well, I'm going to go over this.
And really, I was thinking about it this morning. Most of the people I talk to about Jesus these days are waiters and waitresses. And
That's good.
there was one this week, but we won't go into.
It's
that
harder to meet
further.
people these days. Yeah. we're so pulled apart with our phones and other things we got going on. It's just hard for us to get in conversations.
I'm sorry, Rodney, I was looking at my phone. I wasn't paying any attention.
Were you talking on?
You like to
No,
make a
if
point.
you were actually doing it, it'd be different. But
Oh, yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's the point. It's like everybody's always busy.
Yeah.
I got my things to do. Yeah.
I've always liked watching people, and that's what you watch them do these days. It's amazing how many folks are glued to their phone, and other folks are trying to make me eat the microphone. I guess I was too far away. Now it's very soft.
Yeah, a little too close. They, when my sons and I, you talked about people watching. When we went to the Indianapolis 500 this last year on our adventure that we went on together.
That rained and
Yeah,
rained
it
and
rained and
rained.
rained and rained. It was a lot of that was not fun, but the race was fun and that was cool. But probably some of the most fun we had outside the race is we had to get there so early. So all you do is just sit around and people watch. You know, and you watch people walk in and you try to guess what their story is. Are they a couple? Or are they friends? Are they, you're just trying to figure out, and you see, and they all have these costumes. They come in and, it's like when they go down the, whatever the race is, Churchill Downs.
Oh yeah, the
Kentucky
Derby. Yeah, that's
yeah.
the one I was thinking
Yeah,
of.
they kind of have similar stuff for the Indianapolis 500 where people dress in their own kind of way for the 500 and a lot of checkered flag stuff. And so it's just kind of interesting to sit there and watch people. But Art, we're going to switch over to you. Do you have something you'd like to share on this topic of Adventures with the Father?
Well, I do. I'd like to talk about some of my adventures.
Unless Rodney steals his phone.
And yeah, Rodney's looking at my notes here. So let's see. Let me see them, Rodney. Let me get there.
You got to move the microphone with you.
Yep. Wherever your head goes, the microphone goes with.
Yeah, just lift your phone up.
Okay. We'll get started here. A few weeks. There you go. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you. A few weeks ago, we were talking about adventures on another program, and I had a picture of me and riding a four-wheeler, and I had my dog on the back of the four-wheeler, and she was kind of leaning up against me, and I talked about that picture some. And what I didn't say then, and what I want to say today, is that we were going, I called it an adventure, but what we were actually doing was we were going to check the mailboxes. And the other picture, we were heading out across the pasture. We were going to check the cows.
Mm-hmm.
But they were adventures. It's what's in your heart. It's the way you look at what you're doing. Ordinary chores can be, you can look at it through your dog's eyes. You can look at it through with the help of God and what He's doing inside you, and anything can be an adventure. And Harold talked about, possibly facing a new disease being. This is an adventure. This is a new experience. This is something that, I'm going to work at and do and the best I can. And, adventure, the actual definition of an adventure is an unusual, exciting, and possibly dangerous activity, such as a trip or experience or the excitement produced by such an activity. But I want to point out, it does say possibly dangerous. You don't actually have to do anything risky. It's just it can be the way you view ordinary things. And I've been doing some fencing, putting up some barbed wire fence recently, and repairing some old fences. And it kind of takes me back to to my childhood, to doing that in my childhood days, and my father showing me how, and I'm going on a little adventure back to my boyhood with doing that. A neighbor says, just put up that high stencil wire. It's so easy and works so well. And I'm like, no, I want to cut down my cedar posts and cedar trees and make posts out of them and stretch barbed wire like we used to do. It's reliving something from the past. It's for me, that's an adventure.
Absolutely.
Adventure.
Fencing can be very dangerous, especially if that
It-
little
it
tip
certainly-
comes off of the end of
It
your
certainly
foil.
can. We have that one clip we play with the swordsman, the
Oh, yeah.
fencing guy there. That's, yeah, if you don't know what you're doing there.
Yeah.
That was one of the
Zorro.
3 that I thought I might use.
Yeah, well, I will say that I have to vote that as the best point of the night. Or the whole show, the last 2 shows. There's been good points, but I think that's the best one that I've heard, though, in my opinion, that I needed to hear the most, is the adventures in attitude more than anything.
That's right.
Right. So
Exactly.
I needed to hear that. So thank you
Yeah,
for sharing that.
I just have to look at my dogs and see how they are seeing things,
Oh, yeah.
and it's everything's an adventure to them.
Oh,
Everything
absolutely.
is, and I just follow in with them and
Yeah.
do the same. So
Well, that's good. Well, thank you, Art.
you're welcome.
Andy, you actually have the next clip.
Well, I'm glad he said that because I was thinking along the same lines.
Yeah,
An
sure you were.
attitude.
Yeah.
An attitude.
Yes, sure you were, Andy.
But the point,
Give him something.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to steal his thunder.
I'm-
I'm saying,
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying.
I thought I
That's
heard
all.
you say, go ahead and give me a hard time.
Yeah,
I thought that's
yeah,
what you
yeah,
said.
Yeah.
No, please.
But-
You have the mic. Go ahead.
But the point is I think it's a matter. It's what Rosie was saying. It's like you become bored with life when life becomes too predictable.
Mhm.
And that whole idea, I've experienced some of that recently in the fact that I think I've said about how I'm getting more active because I've lost some weight and I'm working out. So I have energy to do other things. And with that, I'm doing a lot more. I'm going back to those times of, I look at a problem where I used to think, man, I don't even want to bother with that. Now I'm just like, I want to attack it or whatever. I want to step in. I want to risk. I don't care if I fail. I'm going to try to do it. And most of the things I'm doing, they're small things, but it's almost like God's taking me back to that Cowboy Ranger stage where I'm being fathered again by Him. And not just these adventures. Everybody's heard me talk about going on trips and the adventures and that, like Jim was talking about. And I love those. That's a big part of what I do. But it's risking in the areas that I don't normally succeed in.
Mm-hmm.
And God loves that, I believe, because He makes us to come through. He makes us that way. And we pull back when we aren't fathered in that. But when you say, okay, God, father me in this, and let's do this adventure together, He's all over that.
Okay, well, I take back giving you most of the hard time. That was a solid point there.
All right. Well, thank you. I
Not as
appreciate
good as
that.
ours. It was close.
He set me up.
Yeah, he did.
We
Thank you for
we
letting me go.
collaborated.
Yeah, thank you for letting me go first.
There you go. Anytime. No. But my clip is on from the Patriot, and Patriot is, we've talked about it before. Benjamin Martin. He doesn't want to enter into battle, and he's being forced because the enemy, the British, are coming and starting to just really attack the settlers in that area. And they end up, he doesn't want his sons to get involved. One of his sons has already joined the military, and he's trying to protect them, and they've carried him off, but they carried him off, his oldest son, because his second oldest son they killed. And he's got 2 younger sons, and they've chased him down, and they're positioning themselves to ambush this British guard they've got his son, and they're going to take him to hang him or whatever. And so he's really stepping into, I mean, this is a battle scene, but there's adventure in it. And when you hear it as he gives counsel to his sons, it's I think it's Benjamin Martin's giving counsel to Nathan and Samuel, his younger sons. And when he's doing it, you can tell they've done adventures together. He's trained them and taught them how to do stuff. But this is a way to finally, they're forced into battle, and they're having to step up as young men to do it. And so that's really the adventure that they're living in this scene.
Boys, listen to me. I'll fire first. I want you 2 to start with the officers and work your way down. Can you tell the difference?
Yes, Father.
Yes, Father.
Good. Samuel, after your first shot, I want you to reload for your brother Nathan. Now, if anything should happen to me, I want you 2 to drop your weapons, and I want you to run as quickly as you can. Now, you hide in the brush, make your way home, get your brother and your sisters, and you take them to your Aunt Charlotte's. Understood? What did I tell you fellas about shooting?
Aim small, miss small.
Aim small, miss small. Boys, Samuel, steady. Lord, make me fast and accurate. Aim small.
So, that whole instruction, aim small, miss small, how I take that to apply to my life is in the past, I haven't really been very intentional and focused on things. And I really hadn't taken God's counsel. I was also I didn't wait. He told them to wait. They had to wait for the proper time to shoot. I'd be like, before in my Christian life, I'm shooting all over the place. And it's not like, it's like hold and Braveheart. I wasn't holding. I was just all over the place. And I think as God takes me into more of finding out who I am and the adventures he has for us to learn and wait upon him more, I still get ahead of him. And sometimes that can be bad because I have a tendency to procrastinate too. And you can also hold back too much at times, but just really being led into that. So there's some examples, like I said, of just stepping into some things of just, taking care of the house, relationships, stepping in. I give counsel based on my own experience of where he had me to hold back or give an example. And I think it's beneficial to people, and it brings a lot of freedom because you begin to see the mistakes you made in the past and you want to share those. But I was looking through my phone. Occasionally I'll pull it up. Just what I've been through in the past few years is I can, we talk about casual adventure, crucial adventure, and critical adventure, and all of it progressively gets more as a stake. Casual would be just going and enjoying yourself fishing or kayaking or whatever. Crucial being more of taking care of your family and your job and stuff, and critical would be your ministry. And I was like, I've got pictures from every one of those, categories last year, quite a few. And it just, there's comfort in the fact that I used to just not engage. I was the one sitting at home watching the tube, and for a long time, or just watching sports. That was somebody else's, and I still watch sports, but I would do it all the time, and that's somebody else's adventure, not my adventure. And it's just exciting to step into that, and I've seen the fruit of it in my life. I mean, there's still a lot of places I need to work on, but I've been enjoying the adventures God has for me.
That's awesome, Andy. Thank you. And we do have an adventure for you. I know I've said it a couple times. I'm going to keep saying it every week until you get to a boot camp. And we have one coming up when, Andy?
March 13th through 16th.
And where's it going to be, Danny?
Royston, Georgia.
Okay.
At Camp Little Light.
Camp Little Light, that's right. And Art, how do they go register for the boot camp? Do you remember?
Go to our website.
That's good. Do you remember what the website is? masculinejourney.org is what that is.
Yes.
So go to masculinejourney.org. Go register, but this week, let God love on you and love somebody well. We'll talk with you next week.